Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to go over 4 different triggers and try to help you decide when you're considering what trigger you might want to put in your new rifle or the kind of upgrade you're looking to do based on the application you want to use that rifle for. So the 4 that we're going to cover is going to be a Mil-Spec trigger. We have a BCM nickel Teflon, a CMC single stage 2.5 pound, and then a Geissele SSA-E. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to go over the trigger pull or trigger pull weight on each trigger. We have a very basic Wheeler. This is a spring style one, not digital, but it's just going to give you the basic idea of how much trigger weight and trigger pull you're going to be experiencing with each trigger. So we'll start with the Mil-Spec, the low end one. This is a Palmetto State Armory. Now, a quick note, the BCM and the Mil-Spec triggers, technically you can argue have a 2-stage pull, but the stages are so heavy that you really honestly don't notice the separate stages. So we're really just gonna go over the full pull weight of each one because both the feel and the visual of that first stage are almost non-existent. So we'll do the like I said, this PSA Mil-Spec first. All right. So on that first pull, we had just under 6.5 pounds. We'll go ahead, we'll do one more. And then we had roughly an ounce over 6.5. So, so 6.6 pounds or 6.6 pounds on that. Overall, again, like I said, very gritty. Just a good basic trigger for new shooters. All right, next here we're gonna do the BCM. This is the nickel Teflon trigger that they produce. So a big thing that they pride themselves on is not necessarily a reduced trigger pull weight, but a much smoother trigger pull. Try to get rid of the grittiness that you have with a Mil-Spec trigger. So at least as you're going through that still heavier trigger pull, it's gonna move smoothly in that pull. So we actually had roughly 7 pounds on that one. We'll go ahead, we'll do one more just to compare it. All right, we had about 7 pounds on that one as well. So very similar. The big thing that a person's gonna notice if you're taking more of if you're leaning in that precision field with these close to Mil-Spec triggers, is as you're going through that pull and you're waiting for that trigger break, it feels like the longest pull in the world as you're trying to get to that point of the trigger breaking. But obviously both are very heavy, right? In my experience and use of them, the BCM is truly a smoother pull, but just from my experience and opinion. Next, we'll do the CMC. Like I said, this is a 2.5 pound trigger. Single stage though, so there's no take up. It's gonna be a break right at 2.5 pounds. There we go, right at 2.5. We'll do one more. And again, right at 2.5. So spot on. This is that enclosed trigger, that drop-in style, where hammer, trigger, everything is enclosed into a single piece. Drop it right in, put the pins in, and very, very simple install on those CMC triggers. All right, so next we have the Geissele SSA-E. So they're gonna argue with this one. It's a full 3.5 pound trigger pull. You're gonna have 2.5, right, or just under 2.5 on the first stage, with a 1 to 1.2 pound pull on the second stage where it's going to break. So we'll go ahead. There, that's our first stage, and that's very clear and obvious. We have just, what we got, 2.4 ounces on that. All right, obviously we didn't break. We'll do one more just to show that first stage. Very smooth, 2.5 on that one. All right, and we'll go ahead. So we'll have our take up and then our break. There we go, 3.5. So with a 2.5 pound pull, and then we're breaking at 3.5, that's a 1 pound break. We'll go ahead one more. There's our take up, our wall, break. 3.5 again. So again, very, very consistent, very smooth. And just to show you guys, I'm gonna step up here so you can truly see this, right? So, whoops. When we go ahead and pull, right there, very smooth. It's a very clear and defined wall. Before we come, we have our break. And a relatively short reset. Well, actually a very short reset. Right, and it's actually so short that I am still getting used to this trigger. I've only had it, I think, a month, right? And so I am still learning with this trigger and in the way that it handles. So let's go over as far as what application you might want to consider with these triggers, right? Obviously, this is something like a Mark 12. Right? At least somewhat of my rebuild of one. So that was why I put the Geissele in. I started with the BCM because that was what came with the kit, the lower parts kit that I got. Started with the BCM, and obviously when you're building out a precision rifle, that's not gonna be what you want, right? So a Mil-Spec trigger is a great start, right? It's a good learning trigger, and I say that because if you're new to the shooting game, if it's your first AR, you don't want a hair trigger that is going to scare you, right? Or surprise you right out of the gate. You need to learn how to cycle that rifle. It's also going to be safer. It's far safer to have a heavier trigger pull in the sense of, let's say you're looking at a home defense rifle, right? I would never put a single stage for sure in that. A single stage is more of a hunting rifle. Typically, if you go out to get a hunting rifle or a hunting gun, that's what's going to be in it, is a single stage. And that's what this one is here that I have set up. That's exactly what this is for. This is my coyote rifle, right? So, because usually when you're out hunting, you sometimes only have a short window, especially when it's coyotes. When you see that animal or that creature, you don't always have a chance to sit down, get a perfect setup, and then pull that trigger. Sometimes that thing's moving past, and when it's varmint hunting, you're just pulling up and you're taking that shot as soon as it's in the crosshair, right? And so this is especially with this being a 2.5 pound, it's a competition, arguably more of a competition trigger. Very fast, very quick trigger. And that's exactly why I wouldn't want it in a home defense scenario. You don't want to end up like that Olympic runner that shot his girlfriend, right? You hear a bump in the night, so you bring it up and you pull that trigger. Well, with this one, you feel like you hardly touch it, it goes off, and you realize it was someone that you know, but you don't want that. You want something that you can pull up on. You got to put a little bit of a weight behind and confirm that what you're aiming at, you're prepared to destroy, right? You don't want that trigger going off when you're not fully prepared or wanting to destroy that target immediately, right? There might be a chance to talk someone down, talk someone out of something, right, before you have to pull that trigger. And with a single stage and a light pull like that, that's not the kind of trigger you want for that scenario. where this BCM and a Mil-Spec, you have that where you come up and you start to lay into that trigger a little bit, you have a chance to hold off if that opportunity is there. But obviously if you need to take that shot, you just keep pulling through, right? But if you come up and you start to pull and you realize, oh, hey, that person's not armed, right? This could put me in a bad situation. With that heavy pull, it gives you that chance to let off and reconsider that shot. Same with this, but like I said, it's very light. You're gonna have that second wall or that first stage, that pull, and you're gonna hit that clear wall. But when adrenaline's going, you might pull right through and not get that necessary last second chance to let off. But that was why I put it in this, because this is a precision rifle. This is something where I might have more time, more opportunity, whether I'm hunting or just long range shooting, right? With that intention that I'm gonna bring up, nope, that's not the shot I want. I can kind of let off and then come back into it again once I have a better position or a better shot. And so really think about what application you're looking to get the trigger for and what you're looking to use it for, because you can certainly put arguably the wrong trigger into an application. I used to have the single stage in a home defense gun and thankfully never had to use it, obviously in a home defense situation. But as I ran with it more and shot it more, you know, and was using it more, I realized this is not the trigger that I want in a home defense gun. If I hear a bump on the other side of the wall and I don't know what that is, I might not get that chance to bring that shot back once I pull that trigger, right? And you won't, right? But with that heavier trigger, you do have that chance where you can kind of take up, and then if you're not certain, there's a little bit of grace there where you can let off and reconsider that shot. So again, certainly think about what you're looking at. Overall, I really love the triggers that I have based on the applications that I put them in. I feel like I've gotten a spot where it, you know, the trigger that's in each rifle fits the application in which I'm looking to use that rifle for. Lastly, I just really want to show what kind of difference it makes based on if you're running I had that BCM in here, and what kind of grouping size you can change. Now, I am not a precision shooter at all. I will not claim to be. It is something that I'm learning and building that skill on, right? So this was using a 77 grain AAC open tip match ammo. This one here was with the BCM, and then I had a Hornady match 75 grain still with the BCM. Now once I switched over to the Geissele, you can see I brought it in, and now I'm at a true one MOA group. I am certainly not a professional, and I will not claim to be. Something I'm learning, but putting the right trigger into this rifle has made a huge difference in my ability to get on target more often, more consistently, and really bring those groups in. And I'm still trying to refine the ammo for this firearm, but see what the barrel likes, what the gun prefers to shoot, and gives me the most consistent impacts and best groupings possible. But again, something to consider. Really consider the application in which you're looking at using that rifle for, and then once you know the exact application you want to use that rifle for, then start to consider the trigger going forward. But overall, I hope this helps in your decisions trying to figure out what trigger you're looking at using. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. And if you have anything you want to add in there, information to help with people that might be selecting, again, drop it in the comments. But other than that, please like and share, and we'll see you next time.